Welcome, ladies and gentlebros, back to PlayLinks. My name is Topher, and this is not Dark Souls. If you were waiting for that, I'm really sorry, but I've had some technical issues lately, and because of those issues, I am now no longer able to record Dark Souls at the moment until I go out and get an actual recording interface like an Elgato or something like that. So, unfortunately, that series has to be put on hold for a while, but instead we are going to be playing Dragon Age Origins. In fact, I recently finished playing through Inquisition. Finally, I know it's been out for a long time, but I finally got the chance to sit down and play it, and it's made me want to come back through the games and play through them all and refamiliarize myself with the world of Dragon Age. And I've had an idea kicking around for a while, and after playing Inquisition, I've kind of had added on to this idea. But what I would like to do is play through these games in a way I normally wouldn't play them. When I normally play, I'll kind of metagame it a little bit. I'll make choices based on my own particular knowledge of the game, and typically the way that works out is you kind of play it differently. You play to get the best possible ending. Instead, what I'm going to do with this series is I'm going to start a brand new character, a character with a distinct personality, and I'm going to do my absolute very best to make decisions and dialogue choices through the game with that character's personality in mind, so that by the end of it, the world will be shaped by that character's actions. And I'd like to do that through Dragon Age Origins, and then Dragon Age 2, and eventually going on and playing Dragon Age Inquisition. Which means that if you're interested in this, we're going to be in it for the long haul. It's going to be a long journey from here into the end of Inquisition, and hell, by then, who knows, maybe Dragon Age 4 will be out, and we'll be playing that one through too, which is all well and good. I think that would be awesome. But if this sounds like something you'd like to watch, welcome. And, let me know what works and what doesn't work in the comments. This will be my first time trying to record a game in this way. I've kind of tried playing games in this way, but sometimes I just get in, pressed for time, and I kind of rush through things a little bit. But I hope to be able to slow down a little bit and take my time with this, and hopefully create a story for you and myself, because I love the lore of this game to enjoy. Anyway, I am going to start a new game here and let the cutscene play and shut up for a little bit. Although, first off, I would like to mention this idea, of course, isn't mine. I got the idea to do this from a YouTube channel called Sorcerer Dave. He does this he has a Dragon Age series, but he never finished it. But he does this also with games like Oblivion and Skyrim, and I think he also plays Baldur's Gate and Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. And he kind of does the same thing where he plays as his character and role plays through the game, and I've found that to be really interesting. So I will leave a link to his channel, and actually probably to his Dragon Age series below, if you'd like to check it out and kind of see where I'm headed with this sort of playthrough. So, without further ado, I am going to start a new game, let this cutscene play, and I'll shut up for a little bit so we can immerse ourselves in the world of Dragon Age.
The Chantry teaches us that it is the hubris of men which brought the Darkspawn into our world. The mages had sought to usurp heaven, But instead, they destroyed it. They were cast out, twisted and cursed by their own corruption. They returned as monsters, the first of the Darkspawn. They became a blight upon the lands, unstoppable and relentless. The Dwarven kingdoms were the first to fall, and from the deep roads, the Darkspawn drove at us again and again, until finally we neared annihilation. Until the Grey Wardens came. Men and women from every race, warriors and mages, barbarians and kings. The Grey Wardens sacrificed everything to stem the tide of darkness, and prevailed. It has been 4 centuries since that victory, and we have kept our vigil. We have watched and waited for the Darkspawn to return. But those who once called us heroes have forgotten. We are few now, and our warnings have been ignored for too long. May even be too late. For I have seen with my own eyes what lies on the horizon. Maker, help us all.
And with that lovely introduction to the world of Dragon Age, we are brought to the character creation screen. Now this is pretty important, as this says the background you select will determine which of the 6 distinct opening stories you will play through. It also affects how characters respond to you throughout the game. Now, basically this means is that the very first choice you make in this game has consequences that will reach not only through this game, but in other games as well, through Inquisition, although not quite as much as you would think, but it's still there. Like, this character will be talked about in Dragon Age 2 and also in Inquisition, and probably even further once they release the next one. This character that you make here will be talked about, and what they say about you will partly depend on this choice here as well as other choices you make in the game. So you can play as male and female, and there's no difference between the genders for any race. There's humans, which are like many. We'll just read the thing down here. Humans are the most numerous, yet the most divided of all the races. Only 4 times have they ever united under a single cause, the last being centuries ago. Religion and the chantry play a large part in human society. It distinguishes them culturally from elves and dwarves more than anything else. Humans can be warriors, rogues, or mages, and then they have racial benefits to attributes. So, humans are, the standard, normal, boring human race thing. They're divisive. the biggest thing about them is, of course, their faith. In general, speaking of the race in general. But yeah. We will not be playing a human this time around. I think it's kind of boring, especially in Dragon Age 2, where you're locked to playing a human. And I think one of the best things about this game in Dragon Age Inquisition is being able to play another race besides human, because all of these different races very much impact the world, and it seems kind of boring if you just pick human all the time. But then we have the elves. Once enslaved by humans, most elves have all but lost their culture, scrounging and impoverished living in the slums of human cities. Only the nomadic Dalish tribes still cling to their traditions, living by the bow and the rule of their old gods as they roam the ancient forest. Welcome nowhere else. Elves can be warriors, rogues, or mages. I'm on the fence. I haven't quite decided between an elf or a dwarf. Either way, they're going to end up kind of being the same character, because frankly their character is mostly built upon not being human and not just like the cultural difference between humanity and elves and dwarves and that sort of thing. Dwarves. Rigidly bound by caste and tradition, the dwarves have been waging a losing war for generations, trying to protect the last stronghold of their once vast underground empire from the Darkspawn. Dwarves are very tough and have a high resistance to all forms of magic, thus preventing them from becoming mages. So this is the only race in the world of Dragon Age, the world of Thedas, that is locked to only 2 of the 3 classes, because they physically, magic in this world is based on one's connection with what's called the Fade, basically the land of a world of spirits and demons that you go to when you dream, and dwarves are completely cut off from this place, and so they don't actually dream, interestingly enough. To be honest, I'm very muchly considering a dwarf this time around. Actually, yeah, we're gonna be a dwarf. We're gonna be a dwarf, rogue, commoner. I had actually recorded this earlier, but the audio was bad, and there was some weird syncing issues with the video and the audio. So I'm actually having to record it. So I think I'm just gonna go back, do this like I had done before. So if I end up going too quickly through things, I apologize. It's just because I've done it before already today, and I just want to get through it and get to the bulk of the game. And I think here I'll probably be cutting away until I get the look that I want from our dwarf here. So I will see you soon. And alright, here's our dwarf, Vorum Broska. He's what the character we'll be playing is what's known as a casteless, which will be introduced a little bit more later, but basically, as we read earlier, Dwarven society is full of caste and noble houses, and frankly, if you're not one of these, if you're born casteless, born without a caste, which basically a caste, if you're born into a caste, say you're born into the smithing caste or the merchant's caste. I believe there's a merchant's caste. That's pretty much what you do. That you're born into a certain life based on that. If you're not born in a caste, then you're practically worthless. You're treated like scum, honestly. You live in the slums with the rest of the casteless, and that's what this facial tattoos mean on here. While tattoos on the other races, for like humans, they don't really have a certain lore reason why they have facial tattoos. Just you can have some, basically. But the Dalish have some for religious purposes as part of their religion, and the dwarves have facial tattoos because it marks them as casteless. So let's go over here, and we are a rogue. So dexterity needs to go up. We could get a little bit of strength, cunning, and yeah, that'll work for now. So we're just immediately gonna put points into coercion because we're the only character. Your main character is the only one that gets this skill, and this will help us talk our way through things. Which, as a castless rogue, I'm sure our dwarf here has plenty of experience talking his way out of unsavory situations. Now we can... I haven't decided whether to make him an archer or dual wielding. I haven't quite decided yet. I'll decide that later. It doesn't matter anyway because I don't have combat training, so I can't put any points into any of these anyway at the moment. So for now, I will give him below the belt and deft hands. We won't give him stealth just yet. We don't necessarily need it to begin with in the Origins playthrough, but I'm going to be playing on normal so I don't embarrass myself with how bad I am at the combat in this game, because a tactical genius I am not.
Deep beneath the Frostback Mountains sits Orzammar, largest and proudest of the two remaining dwarven cities. Once the seat of an underground empire, Orzammar now stands alone, cut off from the world by the Darkspawn, still clinging to the memory of its former glory. Below the vast statues and gilded halls where the noble families play at politics, the lower castes live in their shadows, scurrying to serve like their ancestors before them. Below that is you. You are casteless, the dirty secret staining Orzammar's perfect society, forced, along with your sister, to sell your services to the crime lord Barat. To the rest of Orzammar, you are proof that the casteless deserve their fate. But you know you do what you have to, the same as everyone, just to survive.
And there you have it, our situation in a nutshell.
I can't keep gambling on you forever, Precious. You've got a sweet look, something to light a man on fire. But you gotta make it count.
Please, Barat, can we not do this in front of my brother?
Why not? He knows the slope of the land, don't you, boy?
So, we're essentially slaves to this man. Basically, he makes it so that we can survive. We kind of hate him for that. Our dwarf here is actually fairly prideful, and he really hates the fact that he needs somebody else's help to provide for himself and his family. So, while we hate this guy, we also have to respect him, A, because if we don't, he will kill us, and B, if we don't, our family could suffer. So, he's right. Whatever it takes to get out of this cesspool.
Listen to the kid. He knows the deal you made. He lays low and does whatever jobs I don't want to risk anyone valuable on. In return, I put out coins so you can doll yourself up and get a belly full of some nobleman's brat. Then you both go free, and I get to join the family and be called my lord for the rest of the little prince's life.
So what are you doing here?
Checking on my investments, and right now, they don't bear much gold. I'm giving you another week, Precious. If you haven't found a patron, you're back to sweeping streets.
But I have. I've met someone. That is, I didn't want to promise, but he seemed interested.
See, she's found someone. I told you we'd deliver.
It's nothing definite, but he said he wanted to see me again.
Excuse me if I don't start knitting booties. Until I do, you're the one who's going to keep paying her debts with your service to the Carta.
You have some more errands for me to run?
A few. Do a good job, and you might work your way up to footpad one of these days. Your buddy Lesky's waiting outside. He knows what I'll need from you today. Don't even think about bungling this job. Your whole family's on loose sand with me right now, and I know you don't have anywhere else to turn.
What an
I'm
asshole.
sorry you had to see that.
I've seen it before, I'll see it again.
And I feel like every time you do, it kills something in you. You were such a loving child. I hate what this place made you into. That's why I didn't tell you. Barat's been warning me ever since 2 of his other girls found patrons at Lord Harrowmont's reception. They've been getting gifts already. Lord Rooston gave Elsie a surface silk gown and she's not even pregnant. Barat's getting impatient.
Barat expects too much from you.
You know how desperate the nobles are for more children? They can barely field enough soldiers to hold the walls against the Darkspawn. If I could give one of them a son, the whole house would celebrate. And we'd all be raised up to noble caste to join the family. It's what Barat's betting on. That's why he paid for my clothes, my voice lessons. He wants to share the reward.
So in Dwarven society, as a casteless, there's only 2 ways to move up in the world. Or there's only 3 ways. Firstly, you could find a way out of the city and just live as a surface dwarf, which, depending on who you ask, most of the nobles kind of consider that becoming not a dwarf at all. If you are a part of a caste or a noble family, when you leave, you're stripped of all of that, and you're basically no better than a casteless dwarf who lives in the slums. So there's either that, or like what she's doing, trying to get pregnant and be invited into a noble's family. That's the other way. And then thirdly, you can basically do something impossible that benefits all dwarven kind and be raised as a paragon, which basically makes you essentially a god among dwarves. Pretty much. So, let's see. Did you say there was a noble who was interested?
Yes. That is, I hope. He certainly seems charming. He treats me like a real lady, not just someone to tumble and forget.
Alright, you've piqued my interest. Who is he?
I don't want to say, in case I'm wrong. It just seems too mad to think of one of the most important men in Orzammar with someone like me. Anyway, time is rusting and I need to get dressed. These fashions will be the death of me. 100 buttons on each sleeve. And Lesky's probably already outside waiting for you.
You're right. Goodbye.
Stay out of trouble. I'll see you tonight.
Okay, so we've got a job to do to make sure that Barat doesn't come down on our family. So we better go out there and do it. Chest, please. Open. Oh, thank you. There we go. Okay. Let's see. What do I have for inventory? Okay. You know, that's kind of strange. Last time I played this as a rogue, I actually got a short bow in that chest. Weird. Okay. No matter. I can always find one later. But this is our mother, Kala. I'm not really going to bother drinking to her, because long story short, she's a drunk, as you can tell from the bottles there. They're probably all empty. But that being said, we have some codex things to... Oh, that's just controls. Don't need to read that. Alright, so here we go. The casteless. The caste system in Orzammar includes many groups of privilege, the nobility and the warriors above all others, but to a lesser degree the merchants and the smiths and the miners. Tradition establishes a clear hierarchy, but as in any other culture, with an upper class, there is also a clear underclass. These unfortunates, the so-called casteless, are believed to be descendants of criminals and other undesirables. They have been looked down upon since Orzammar's foundation. They have taken up residence in a place called Dust Town, a crumbling ruin on the fringe of Orzammar's common areas. Orzammar society considers these casteless lower than even the servant caste. Indeed, the casteless are not allowed to become servants, as it is too honorable a position. They are seen as little better than animals, their faces branded at birth to mark them as the bastard children of the kingdom. Their home district, little more than a slum, is a haven for crime, organized and otherwise. Orzammar's guards seemingly cannot be bothered to patrol its streets. The best that most castless dwarves can hope for is a life at the whim of a local crime lord, ended abruptly by violence or an overabundance of toxic lichen ale. Even so, there is some hope for the castless, a dangling rope that offers a way up into greater Orzammar society. Since a dwarf's caste is determined by the parent of the same sex, the male child of a nobleman is part of that noble's house and caste. Strangely, it is acceptable for castless women to train in the arts of courtly romance to woo nobles and warriors. They are known as noble hunters. Any male born from such a union is considered a joyous event, considering the low rate of dwarven fertility. The mother and entire family are then taken in by the father's house, although they retain their caste. The dwarves we know on the surface are also considered casteless once they leave Orzammar, although this is only relevant to those who return if they are allowed to return at all. Dwarves who leave for the surface, the sun-touched, as they're often called behind their backs, lose their connection to the stone and the favor of the ancestors, and thus are worthy of little more than pity, for upon dying they are said to be lost to the stone forever. Put that way, it seems a sad existence indeed. From Stone Halls of the Dwarves by Brother Genitivi, Chantry Scholar. So there you go, pretty much what I was saying earlier. Basically, to everybody else in Dwarven society, we are the scum of the stone, as it were. And Vorum kind of hates that, but he does what he can to survive.
About sodding time. I was starting to think I'd have to bust in and get an eyeful of that spicy sister of yours. Growl.
First of all, creepy. Second of all, this is Leska. He's probably our only friend in the world. Leska, how's it shaping?
Oh, what can I say? No money, no girls, no place to call my own. I've been writing an epic poem about it. It starts, "Oh, you're really, really cursed to have no caste. You noble dwarves can shove it up your..." But I couldn't think of a rhyme.
Cast, vast, blast.
I'm not seeing Court Bard in your future either.
Good point.
I guess we'll have to stick to playing the heavies for Barat.
Yeah. What's he got for us today?
Boss says we're out for a search and discipline. One of his smugglers is holding out on him. Name's Oskias, some surfacer. Barat got word that he's been selling shipments topside that never make it to Barat's ears down here. He wants us to find the rotter and see what goods he's holding back.
Oh joy. Any idea where this Oskias is?
All he told me is find him. Duster's got some family from the merchant caste. He's probably staying near their quarters.
What do we do with him if he's been holding out on Barat?
Well, if he is skimming, we kill him, of course. I mean, Barat doesn't let anyone swindle him and live. Bringing his head on a plate is completely optional, though.
Alright. Fine, but let's at least find out what he's done.
Whatever lets you sleep at night, my friend.
Growing up here, we're not exactly adverse to killing people. But honestly, the way Vorum sees it, it's either him or me and my entire family. So...
Hey there, Carter boy. Care to try a taste of this?
Yeah.
Any way you like it.
Yeah, prostitution's rampant down here as well. People do what they can to survive, and it's kind of a sad lifestyle, but... that's how it is with the castless. Okay, let's see if we can find some information on this Oskias guy.
What are you doing here, Brand?
Have you heard?
Get lost,
King's got a
Brand.
team who
I have
found
no
traces
point
of
to give
Blanca
you.
in the deep run.
Yeah.
Oh?
Linda?
Lesky, you old scamp. What are you doing here? Trying to charm me out of another set of ribbons for your girl?
Trying to talk you into being my girl, Olinda. You know my heart's breaking for you.
Don't you go saying that around my husband. Who's your friend?
I can't believe Leska never told you about his best friend. Yeah, I'm insulted. I am
When I'm
insulted.
with a lady, the last thing I'm thinking about is you.
Good point.
Well, look around, boys. I can slide you on the markup, being that you're friends, but I can't give anything away for free.
I'll take a look.
Just don't touch anything if you can't meet the price.
Not exactly what I'm looking for, but oh, yeah. Yep. Nothing I really want anyway, but... doesn't matter, it's all too expensive for me.
Paragon or not, Bronca's dead. She's been gone 2 years. No one survives the deeps that long.
Paragon Bronca. What about you? Got anything for me?
Hey, boy. You look like someone who could use a spare copper. What do you say?
Got a job for me?
No work, just money for something you're not even using. Much. You look like you've still got all your teeth. Nice and healthy. I craft replacements for nobles who have lost theirs. I can pay you real handsome for some of those. 1 silver for 2. What do you say?
Now, normally, if people were to, you know, give him a job for money, he would do it, no problem. But in this case, since this guy is taking people's teeth and giving them to nobles who, for all intents and purposes, before him can go die in a ditch, he will not give him the time of day, so I'm not even going to justify that with a response.
Suit yourself. Plenty of brands are willing.
Nobles can go sawed off as far as Vorum is concerned. See, anybody else?
Great prices on all arms and armor, like they were crafted by the Paragon Smith Bronca herself.
I highly doubt that.
Do you mind? I have nothing you can afford, and as long as you're here, no one else will come.
You're castless yourself, you bastard.
Same as you. It's illegal for me to walk here without one. I'm from the surface, so by the law of assembly, I'm castless. But I think of the brand as just a part of the license to vend my wares. I use a washable ink, and when I return home, it's gone first thing. I cannot imagine wanting to wear the beastly thing every day.
Must be nice. You think I choose to live like this?
You certainly don't choose to live any other way. If you were on the surface, you could open a shop, claim land, and start a farm, and get legally married by the human chantry. Orzammar is the only place in the world that will treat you like this. Yet you all stay. I'll never understand it.
If I wanted to be called an idiot, I'd ask my mother. Boom. Burn. Self-burn. But a burn nonetheless. But isn't the surface disgusting and full of dirty, nasty humans?
There is one thing about the surface, though. There are no castes, and we dwarves all look to help each other. It always seems sad to me that our homeland is the one place in this world where you're likely to be killed by a fellow dwarf. Now, unless you're gonna buy something, I need to unload and get home before the rain sets in. That's water from the sky, by the way. I hope you make better luck for yourself in the future.
You know, the surface may actually not be a terrible idea. Nah, you're right, Leska. That's awful. Awful idea.
This place is going to the nugs. Castless running around like they own the place.
Yep, that's me. I'm castless. We're just terrible people, not at all trying to get by like anybody else. Alright.
The ancestors were smiling on my bets today.
No castless.
Take a closer look before you say that.
Who the dust are you?
Oh, my mistake. I didn't realize you were one of his.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm not looking for any trouble.
Tell me if you know where to find a man named Ascaius.
Is that what this is all about? He's here, all right. Right over there. Been nursing that same mug half the day. Paid up front, though. Good silver. What's he done?
Ask too many questions.
Sorry, just trying to make conversation. You, do what you have to. Just, try and keep it neat. I'm still paying for this space.
Can't promise anything. Alright, let's go shake this guy down.
Hey, I was saving that seat.
That's real thoughtful, Ascaius. It's tiring work looking for you.
How do you know my name?
Let's just say we've got a mutual friend.
Oh no, you're not from Barat, are you? Because that would be too much. I don't think I could handle.
Listen, if you did nothing wrong, there's nothing to fear, right?
I just want to make sure nobody, does anything too hasty.
Of course not. This is just a friendly inspection.
Making sure you didn't accidentally pocket any processed lyrium, you know.
Look, I always been loyal to Barat. He's been good to my family. I know how much I owe him.
I believe you. I just need to make sure. We understand where this guy's coming from. We're in the same position, basically. But again, in this world, it's either me or him. And it's going to be him, if I have any say to it.
Keep him still. I'm gonna search his bags.
Wait, I do have some lyrium. It's just ore. I made a side deal with one of the mining families. If it worked out, I was gonna bring Barat his cut. I swear. I'd be crazy not to.
Suicidal, one might say.
How much ore did you take?
Just a little. Maybe 25 sovereigns worth.
25 sovereigns?
Most of that's with my buyers on the surface. I just picked up a few nuggets down here. If I were to maybe give you a piece, that's a lot of coin. Could you forget to mention this to Barat?
Well, the problem is, we help you, Barat's after us next, so... Sorry, buddy.
No, I'll give it back. I'll find more. I'll get Barat double what he can make in a year. Triple. I swear. Just, please, don't kill me.
Stop squirming or this is really going to hurt.
Could everyone who isn't about to die please turn around for a moment? This may be unpleasant. Thank you.
You can't do this. Help! Call the guardsmen! This is murder!
You two let me know if you need anything. I'll be in the back.
I think it's like, see ya.
It's just a bunch of rocks. You're gonna kill me for that?
Sorry. Job's a job.
No!
Oh. He's getting some squats there. It's pretty impressive, dude, but nonetheless, you have to die. This is what rogues are good for, backstabbing. Now my friend should backstab. Yep.
Surely you're joking.
Haha. Excellent. That's one duster dead. That guy's enjoying himself.
I didn't see anything. Just go away.
Damn right you didn't. Alright, let's get out of here.
We have to get this stuff back to Barat before he starts wondering what we've been doing.
Yeah, let's go.
The king is old. His rule won't hold much longer.
Prince Balin seems far more sympathetic to our interests than Trian.
Balin has some tastes of his own that he knows I can provide. We'll finish this later.
That
it's about
sounds
time
weird.
You two showed up. What happened with Ascaius?
Let's not beat around the bush. He's dead. Here's Illyrium.
Excellent. I'll send someone out to handle the cleanup. Not you, though. I have another job in mind for you.
Another one? Alright, let's see. Let me guess. I don't really have a choice. That's what he's thinking. But he'd probably say something more along the lines of, anything you want, boss.
The Warrior Cast is hosting a proving today. All the best fighters, last man standing, you know the sort of thing.
Sounds fun.
They're showing off for some Grey Warden who's looking for candidates to drag off to a life of eternal glory. Now, it's not often we get every named fighter in Orzammar lined up like that. And I have certain acquaintances who take an interest in this sort of thing.
And you're taking bets on the fighters, aren't you?
There's a lot of coin to be made when people get the fever up. Favorite fighter's an officer named Minar, veteran of 4 Darkspawn campaigns. Havaird's a long shot, just got back from a deep roads offensive. Some young buck who has all the ladies drooling. I've got a lot of money riding on him. Mine and other people's. I expect to see that 8-to-1 pay off. Understand?
I do.
The fight only gets announced to contestants themselves to prevent illegal gambling. So first, you'll have to find Havaired, see who he's fighting and when. When the name Minar comes up, I want you to slip this drug into the bastard's water. It'll slow his reflexes, just enough to take the edge off, not enough to show. But it wears off quickly, so don't use it until just before his fight.
Does a Verd know you're doing this?
He's the kind of warrior who wants to show off his oiled physique to a cheering crowd. You think he wants scum like us making money on him? Don't let him know what you're doing. Just find his chamber, see when he's fighting, then go to Minor and dump the drug.
Huh. What is this drug exactly?
I'm not asking you to distill it, just drop it into a basin. That's all you need to know.
I just wanted to know for future reference. Alright, we'll go now.
You will. Here's your pass to get on the grounds. The proving starts as soon as the clock strikes. And when I say I have coin on this, I'm not talking about some pittance, like the value of your life. If I don't see a Verd's name on the winner's sheet, you'd better make sure I never see you or your sister ever again.
Yeah, whatever you say, boss. Okay. Oh, Codex. I missed one earlier. Okay. Let's start with the city of Orzammar. The dwarves are lauded for their craftsmanship, and the city of Orzammar is one of their finest works. Orzammar lies at the heart of the Frostback Mountains, deep underground. The city arcs outward from the royal palace, which is built around a natural lava vent, continually fountaining liquid rock, which both lights and heats the entire cavern. The topmost tier of Orzammar is home to the noble caste, with their palaces fanning out in both directions from the court of the king, as well as the Shaperate, which serves as a repository for all dwarven knowledge. The lower tier is the commons, where the merchant caste holds sway and where the finest works of Orzammar's craftsmen are for sale. In the center of the river of lava, connected to the commons by a causeway, are the Proving Grounds, a sacred arena where dwarves by ancient tradition settled their disputes. On one side of the fiery river are the ruins of old dwarven palaces, fallen into disrepair, which the locals call Dusttown, our home, now home to the city's casteless. That's us. On the other side of the river are the Deep Roads, which once joined the sprawling dwarven empire together, but now, after centuries of darkspawn incursions, are largely sealed off. Nearly all knowledge of this network of underground passages has been lost, even to its builders. And the Proving. Valos Atredem. In the 23rd year of the reign of King Ragnar Nydukin, an old man of the servant caste was accused of stealing a sapphire ring from his employer, Lord Dace. The servant was stripped of his position, he and his family thrown to the streets, and soon after, the servant died. The son of the disgraced servant challenged Lord Dace to a proving, declaring that his father had been the victim of a cruel injustice and the ancestors would bear him witness. Lord Dace had no choice but to accept. On the sacred stone of the Proving Ground, the nobleman faced the servant boy. Lord Dace carried a sword crafted for his own hand and was clad in his great-grandfather's armor. The servant boy had neither armor nor weapon. When the battle began, the boy fought like a whole pack of angry deepstalkers, flinging himself on the startled lord, wrenching the sword from his hand, and prying at his armor with bare fingers. The boy knocked Lord Dace to the ground and beat him until the lord begged for mercy. The boy and his family were reinstated to their place in the Dace household, and the virtue of the boy's father was not questioned again. The ancestors had spoken, and no one would question their word. Interesting. So, yeah, that's it, right? Yeah, that's it. Okay. So, on the subject of dwarven religion, dwarves typically worship the stone, which is, it's kind of a weird concept. We'll have to find a codex entry for me to really explain it, because I don't think I would be able to explain it correctly. But they also venerate their ancestors. Basically, when a dwarf... Shut up, I'm giving a history lesson here. Good lord, have some respect. But basically, if a dwarf does something for dwarven kind that is important enough to do something good for their race as a whole, they're ascended into what's called Paragon, which basically you become a living ancestor, a god among dwarves, as I mentioned earlier. What that allows dwarves to do is basically become their own noble caste, and the children the generations that follow them will carry on that noble name. So, becoming a Paragon is a huge ordeal in the world of the dwarves, and basically, it's a Paragon of dwarves is something that any dwarf aspires to be. But as far as like venerating his ancestors and stuff like that goes, and paragons, Vorum is kind of different among dwarves. He doesn't really believe in all that because, frankly, being born castless and, you know, living the life that he does, no religion has helped him do that. He's gotten as far as he has because of his own skill and the skill of his, you know, the close friends that he has, like Leska. So he believes in the strength of his own arm beyond any sort of divine influence from the great beyond or wherever. But so Vorum's a little bit different. He's not the average dwarf. Our friend is. So.
Turn around, Brand. No castless on the grounds.
But I have a pass right here, sir.
Looks legitimate. Go on through then. But stay to the trenches. Grey Wardens don't need some eyesore getting between them and the fighters.
Will do. Thank you, sir. Prick.